So you see, we've got the Z900 in front of us. Let me tell you something. I gotta tell you something about this bike. It's awesome! It's awesome! It's awesome! Z900! That is so loud, oh my god. Hey, what is up guys? In front of us we have the Z900 Standard Edition. This is a 2023 model. And you can see we're at a new location. Just a little something else because the old location was getting kind of bad. You know, people were putting glass everywhere and I didn't want to risk breaking or damaging these awesome new tires. These are brand new. I'll get into that in a bit. But yeah, we have the 2023 Z900 Standard Edition and she is a beauty. I have to say, I like this sort of like sparkling gray and black. I am a fan. Kawasaki, you did really good on these colors. Obviously, you've got little accents of red around. Super cool stuff. A little side note, it's got a, I think this is a cat delete or a slip-on all the way down to the mid-pipe. So it doesn't have a bread box anymore. It's going straight into a Orion. I think, what would you call this? A mid-link or a slip-on basically. It's an Orion exhaust. Aside from that, it's also got these cool, what is it? Mataru day running lights or day, just, you know, lights, extra auxiliary lights. There you go. It's extra, that's a, man, words are hard. But yeah, that's auxiliary lights for when you're traveling at night and you need the extra little beam of light just to shine your path. Yeah, you got that. And aside from that, nothing much really. Here's the switch for the light. We'll get into more details on the stuff later. But yeah, I think this bike is just gorgeous. Let's get into the engine of this bike. So for the engine on this bike, it is just shy of being a liter bike. It's a 948cc double overhead cam, fuel injected, liquid cooled inline 4 that produces about 123 horsepower at 9,500 RPM. And with that horsepower, it produces about 98-ish horsepower at 7,700 RPM, 7,700 RPM. Aside from that, it's got a 6-speed manual transmission that is all cradled in this nice trellis frame. Since this is the 2023 model, it does not have the colored frame. On the 2024, I believe, you can have this frame in red or green, especially in the SE variants. Now let's check out the suspension. So for the front suspension, you have a 41mm upside down fork that is adjustable for preload and rebound damping, as well as on the front brakes you have a 320mm dual disc brake, and it's hugged by a axially mounted 4-pot Nissan caliper. I believe in the SE variant you get a Brembo brake that is also axially mounted, as well as steel braided lines. For the rear suspension, you can see it is a single monoshock that is adjustable for spring preload as well as rebound damping, and my hands are still dirty from the front brakes. Then behind that, you have a 250mm single disc that is hugged by a single piston Nissan caliper. Super standard stuff. And I just have to say, this Orion exhaust looks absolutely good. Let's talk about the tires real quick. So stock, these tires should be a Dunlop Sport Max Road Sport 2. That's what you get out of the box. And it is a 120/70/17 for the front and a 180/55/17 for the rear. And for the pricing on this bike, for the standard model, which is the one we have in front, it is 566,500 pesos. If you get the SE version, which has an upgraded suspension, upgraded brakes, rear suspension also, and you know, all that good stuff, I think it comes with a quick shifter, I'm not sure, but it is about 618,000 for the SE. So a bit of extra price for suspension and brake components. If you choose that or you choose this, whichever one, I'm sure you're gonna have a lot of fun. Now, let's sit on this bad boy. Okay, let's sit on this thing. So swing a leg over her, and you can see that I am comfortably flat-footing this bike. Seat height is 800 millimeters, and I'm about 5'11". As you can see, if I put my foot up, you can see how aggressive the foot peg is. It's very high up, very sporty, and tank capacity on this is 17 liters. The bike weighs about 212 kilos, and that's wet and ready to ride. And overall, it's very low slung, so it feels a lot like the CB. Now, let's check the cockpit area. So for the left side, you can see it's pretty standard stuff. You've got your clutch, which is very light pull. It's got a pass light, and it's got a high beam, low beam, as well as your turn signals and your select switch, which is for the TFT screen, which we'll get into later. Horn, you've got your hazards, and you've also got for the lights, auxiliary lights down here. So you got white and you got yellow. And for the right side, you can notice that it doesn't have a select switch here, which the ZX4 had. And that was because if you combine the select switch and the lap, I think, you would turn off the quick shifter, which this bike clearly doesn't have. But this would be a good location for a cruise control, or maybe on the other side if Kawasaki decides to possibly sell us some switches to turn this bike to have cruise control. But yeah, pretty standard stuff. Brake reservoir, Nissan, beautiful as always. And then your cable throttle. Now for the dashboard, you can see it's very reflective, but yeah, it's a pretty standard dash. We've already seen this on the ZX4. You can see it redlines just at about 11,000 RPM. We've already done a lot of this sort of dash stuff already in the ZX4. You can also change the display stuff. You can have your date and clock service, you know, because it's a 4.3-inch TFT display. You have Bluetooth connectivity, and yes, it's good that it's got this. I personally love these TFT screens. They are becoming my personal favorite for just, you know, just seeing everything. And Kawasaki does a really nice one where you can see the revs. Another thing to take note, because we've got the select switch and you can see up there, there's road. You can also change it. So this bike has riding modes. There we go. We got sport. And then if we go back down, we should be getting, go back to road, and then we should be getting rain, and then we should get a rider. Yes, so Kawasaki keeps that for us. We have a rider mode that we can adjust if we want the power, as well as traction control. So yeah, what else can I say about the dash? It's gorgeous. You've got this really neat cockpit. I like the way they have put this phone mount here. It's very clean, keeps the sort of handlebar really clean. You know, you still got pretty much stock mirrors, stock levers. Kawasaki makes some really good ones. You know, it's adjustable, which is nice. You can see it is adjustable. Aside from that, tank is nice. You know, it's pretty standard Kawasaki stuff. Now let's suit up and go for a nice ride on this bike. Okay, we are on the bike. We are ready to go. And a big difference between this and like the ZX4 from Kawasaki that I rode is that the starter motor is very quick. The ZX4 had to like spur up a lot. This one is just literally, that's it. It's so quick. But yeah, let's see if it's got similar features to the ZX4. You know, because the ZX4 I think was targeted towards newbie to like intermediate-ish riders that wanted something a bit faster but not scary fast compared to like all other beginner bikes. But let's see how this one has it. So if we clutch in, no, it doesn't have, oh wait, maybe it does. No, it doesn't have it, or it's delayed. So it doesn't have that same feature that the ZX4 has, that if it's low RPM kind of thing, you know, when it's idling, and then when you put it in gear, it goes up, which assists you to get through that initial, you know, process of just getting the bike to go. But yeah, it doesn't seem to have that. Let's go. Yeah. So you can see already, just from this, that the bike is fairly bog standard. You know, there's not much thing on it. It's a very loud bike because of the exhaust, but it's also a very quick bike. Let's see how it fares in city riding. We'll turn right over here, go into the city, see if we get anything. Oh, this bike is quick. And can you hear the gurgles and the pops on the exhaust? Okay. Oh, initial impressions of the bike. Very torquey. Very torquey. Every gear has torque. He wanted me to rev it, so I revved it out. Not too much. Can't have too much fun. But yeah, city riding. Oh, I love that Kawasaki's neutral gear finder. Amazing. Every bike should have that. It makes it so easy to go into neutral from first gear, or I think also second sometimes. False neutrals. Let's see if we get any. But other than that, gearbox feels very short. It's a very quick, you know, very sporty sort of gearbox on this bike. It is a bit shorter, I think, than the CB. The CB had very long gears, which made it more, I think, fuel economic or something. It's very economical. This bike, I think, is just a hooligan's bike. Obviously, we got traction control on. We can't really wheelie it, but I think you would wheelie this thing without a doubt. Oh, this is so much fun. I think in terms of city riding, this is definitely a good bike. $123 horses, man. That is a lot. That is a lot of horses. Oh, this bike. It's fun, it's a lot of fun. But you can see definitely, if you're doing a lot of city riding, you're gonna be in the lower gears a lot because of the torque. But that's the benefit of having a very short gearbox, is that you could be in 6th gear and it's comfortable, you know, for city riding. If you're just out and about, you can hit 6th gear and the bike is okay with it. Clearly, you know, you're doing 3,000 RPM and you're already at 70 kilometers per hour. You know, it's a very what do I say, juicy bike in terms of horsepower and torque. But I am definitely going to be keeping it in the lower RPMs. Oh, this bike is a lot of fun. Kawasaki, you have made a hooligan bike. Can you hear the like engine cut off? Dun, 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 when I'm getting a high enough speed. That was the traction control, I think, taking control and preventing the tire from spinning out. Because the bike has a lot of torque, you know, 98 newton meters of torque is a lot, especially when you've got 100 horsepower too. Oh, there's an event coming up. There's a lot of people today. What's going on? Keynotes that I want to also take, sort of like, I want to compare this bike to other bikes, obviously. Oh my god. Let's go over here. Let's go double back. Okay, so how can I compare this to something that I've already used? Obviously, the CB650 is the closest of its competitors for the middleweight segment. And yeah, I think it fares pretty good. I mean, it definitely's got a few leg ups against the CB if you get the SE, I think, because the CB has show a fully adjustable suspension. This is also fully adjustable, but the CB has radially. The CB has radially mounted calipers, so it's a bit better in terms of braking feel. This one, I mean, you know, unless you're a racer and you're planning on tracking this bike, because, you know, it's the gearbox is built for track. You know, it's a very short gearbox. I think if you're planning on doing that, and yeah, get the SE variant. But other than that, as a normal everyday commuting bike, it stacks up really well against the CB. It's obviously got TFT screen. The 2024 CB has a TFT screen. Other keynotes, it's definitely got more power because it's a bigger engine, more torque in turn of that power. But yeah, those are my key takeaways on this bike. I'm just being silly. Yeah, city riding, it is definitely, I can feel that it's a bit better than the CB in my opinion, because I think the clutch pull on this is softer than the CB's. Oh, they're okay. That is fun. That is a lot of fun. It's fun hearing the engine go, you know, you hit the limiter. And you see how much of a looker this bike is. People look at you. There we go. It's a neck breaker. That's what it is. I mean, any inline 4 would be a neck breaker in my opinion. As long as it sounds good, you put a nice exhaust on it. So for city riding, you can see how good this bike is. Yeah, you wanted a few revs, but for city riding, you can see how beautiful this bike performs. Now let's go on to the, what do you call it? Highway riding. So, let's go! It's so short! This bike has so short gears! Oh, it's too fast. But it's a fun kind of fast. Oh yeah, if you're cruising, even 6th gear is gonna pull. Like we slow down a bit for 6th gear just to cruise. Hang on, let me go over here. And then if we start pulling on this gear, it's gonna just keep us going. Smile for the camera. Hey. Look, 6th gear. Yeah, it just goes. She is just going non-stop. Go, go, go. Oh. But you can see how quickly this bike can pick up because of the shorter gears. That's the benefit of having shorter gears. You get off the lights quicker and you reach top speed quicker. Only downside that I can see is that the bike likes to be revved out a little bit more, so fuel economy is going to be a bit bad. But who cares? You're on an inline 4! Oh. You want to scream. You want to make that bike scream. It's a fun bike, I have to say. It's a fun bike. Okay, other keynotes. You can see me sometimes trying to reach for this. I was thinking, oh no, we're trying to cruise, but yeah, it doesn't have any cruise control. That's the downside of this bike. I think they should have added a cruise control. I mean, it doesn't cost much for Kawasaki to add one, especially with something like this that is already a, what is it? It's a throttle actuated cable. Oh no. What bike is this? We're coming up to another bike. Oh, got a lot of bikes on the road today because it's a Sunday, so everyone's out on a ride. Oh, I am loving this bike. I am loving this bike. It's a fun bit of kit. It's awesome to ride. Highway is super good. I'd have to say, you know, aside from the windscreen not being, you know, non-existent, I think this is just enough because it bounces off my chest and not my head, which is a bit more comfy than having to jiggle your head around non-stop. And, you know, it takes the strain off your neck. Ugh. Okay. We are here. Okay. Okay. So the 2023 Z900. Before I get into the conclusion, I just want to say a big thank you to MoonStrider Garage. This is their bike and they lent it to me again. Super awesome guys there. If any of you are planning a trip and want to rent a bike, please consider checking them out. They're super awesome, super chill. You know, you can chat them anytime and they'll reply ASAP. So, yeah. So going to my conclusion on this bikes. So the 2023 Z900, how does it fare against all the other competitors that is up against? Obviously, because it's just shy of being a liter bike, it is actually considered a middleweight sports bike or a middleweight naked bike that is very sporty because the foot pegs are very high. I think it is awesome. For the money, you're getting a lot of bike. Like obviously, if you get the SE, you get better brakes, but these are pretty good. You get twin axially mounted brakes, which are pretty good. You've got this super awesome inline 4 engine, which produces good enough horsepower and good enough torque. This is kind of like a hooligan or hoonigan. I don't know what exactly, but it's a very it's a bike that makes you want to go fast. Basically, it's geared very short, so every gear is like. Is that the best explanation? But yeah, you're just banging on those gears trying to get through them, which is odd because it's a naked bike. But yeah, it's just that. I guess it's got a sport bike gearing. Aside from that, styling looks really good. It's got those fangs up front when you turn it on. Yeah, you see? It's got those little fangs up front. Turn on. Super cool. But yeah, other thoughts on the bike? I love it. It's really cool styling. Definitely something you should check out. You know, if you're nearby a Kawasaki dealer, go sit on this bike. Maybe you might like it. Power is not really beginner-ish friendly because it's very torquey. You gotta learn to control that throttle a bit. But even then, traction control kinds of kicks in and helps you out, you know. So don't turn that off until you kind of got the management of the bike. And those are just my thoughts on it. If you like this video, leave a like. If you think I missed anything, comment down below. And let me also know your thoughts on this bike. What do you think about the Z900, as well as, you know, the SE and the standard, the variants, and if you're planning on getting it, or maybe you have it, you know, share your thoughts down below. And yeah, please consider subscribing, guys. It helps me out so much. And maybe even turn that little bell icon on, you know, so you know whenever I upload. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next ride. Peace!